Howdy. So, I just got back from training, and today was a little bit different. I've been training at Rambaa's gym as like the last thing I do in the day for many months now. I go and I clinch there with his boys. And he's been asking to hold pads for me for more than a month now. He's like, let me hold pads for you. I'm like, I do pads down the street before I come. I just come for clinching. And so I'm kind of like, I don't really want to do double pad work. And I'm a little bit afraid of his pad work. There's a lot of reasons why I've been kind of like, thank you for the invitation, but maybe kind of thing. And so finally yesterday, as I was leaving, I was like, can you hold pads for me tomorrow? And he was like, yes, yes, yes. He was very excited. So I've been anxious about it all day because I agreed to do it, actually asked for it yesterday. And so today I went only to Rambaa's gym, and when I get there, he like immediately starts bossing his boys around and telling them to put on shin pads. And I'm like, okay, he's just telling them to do something. But then he's like, Sylvia, you have shin pads. And I don't have them with me. They're actually down the street at the other gym, which I didn't want to go do the like political thing of going and getting my equipment from the other gym to come train at this one. So he just had me wear some of the shin pads that were there, and they were really nice, actually. I think I might make those my next shin pads when my Fairtex ones finally don't work anymore. So I sparred with 3 boys, 1 round with each of them, and then 1 extra round with the first one again. So I did 4 rounds, changing partners every time, but 1 kid twice. And these are mainly the kids that I clinch with too. Like, I know them. They're all bigger than me, but by not a lot, but they're different sizes going up. So Naksu was my first and last partner. He's the closest to my size, and he's who I clinch with the most. So he's probably like 50, 51 kilos. I'm 47 kilos. So significant difference, but like around the size of the girls that I fight generally. And then M16 is probably like 53 kilos. So he's bigger than Naksu. Significantly bigger than me. And then the third one, I don't actually know him. I have seen him around, but I've never really worked with him before. He's a lot bigger. He was like 55, 56 kilos. So getting bigger with each of them. And I did the best against Naksu, middle against M16, and the worst against the biggest kid. And the biggest kid is the least skilled. Like, he's the least good of everyone. And I had the hardest time with him. And then M16, who I have a hard time with in clinching also, was basically doing in sparring form what he does to me in clinching, which is he finds something that works and he just spams it. And then with Naksu, I was, having the best go of like trying different things and working different things with him. And there are things to be said about dynamics and like knowing these boys, but I've never sparred with any of them before. I've never sparred with Naksu. I've never sparred with M16. I've never sparred with this third kid before, even though I have worked with them in other capacities. And it just kind of illustrated to me, one, I don't spar with almost anyone other than Yodkun Pan, because that's my setup. Like, that's how my training goes right now. I don't really belong to a gym. I'm not in a gym that has kids my size. That's why I go to multiple gyms, is to be able to have clinching partners. So I really don't have a lot of sparring partners. So I was really freaked out about having like new sparring partners out of nowhere today. So it was interesting for me to be able to see things that usually work against Yodkun Pan work or not work against someone who isn't used to me doing it. And like all these things are kind of interesting. But the most illustrative part for me was this kind of like by size functionality, which is that the greatest factors or metrics that make something difficult or not fair isn't so much what you would think it would be. Size is a huge one. It's not even necessarily skill. I am considerably more skilled than this biggest kid, and I had the hardest time against him just because of his size. People argue about this, like, men and women, just they can't ever fight each other because of muscle mass and all this different stuff. These are all boys. I train almost entirely against men and boys. I don't really train against women. I only fight against women, and I can tell you that the biggest difference is not gender, it's not muscle mass, it's size. Like, if you're the same weight and you're the same size and you have different skill levels, like all those things are going to have like different areas of complication in them, but size is a much bigger issue. Weight is a much bigger issue than I think people really give it credit for. It makes a huge difference. So after I sparred with them, I did 5 rounds on pads with Rambaa, and he's kind of a nightmare. Like, he wants power, but he also doesn't want your skill to drop when he's making you go through all this power, so he really wants to drain you. He knows when you're drained, which is really nice, in the sense that, like, he doesn't take it down, but I know he knows that I'm, like, reaching the bottom of my barrel, so I don't have to perform being tired, because I know he knows I'm tired, so really I'm just going to get credit for how hard I'm still going, rather than how hard I look tired or something. You get punished for looking tired at his gym, which I really appreciate. He's one of the few gyms where he still carries a stick around. Like, you know, if you see a gym where the head trainer has a wooden stick, that you're like at a good gym. And I was also really proud because it was so hard. But he tripped me a couple of times, like right off the bat. He just threw me on the ground, kind of putting his leg behind me and tipping me over it. And I felt like I was going to cry the first time. Like, it was just, it's meant to be humiliating. That's why you do it. It kind of throws you for a loop. You're already tired, so you're in this, like, volatile emotional state. But after the third one, he couldn't trip me anymore. I started, like, catching him as he was trying to come in, or I would knee him or something like that. And he's like, good, good, good. Like, he was aware that I was stopping him. But I was, like, during it, I was not proud of myself. But afterwards, I was like, you know what? I actually am really proud of myself that my reaction time now is so improved that I'm able to stop him from being able to trip me beyond those first 3, which I was definitely not able to do the last time he held pads for me, which was a few years ago. So I did 5 rounds with him, and then I went and clinched with Naksu, which is what I normally do, for the next 30 minutes after that. So it was a very, very hard, good training session. I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy to be done and to be home. But as I was waiting outside, I was texting with my friend Helen, and the father of one of the young girls that trains at the gym, her name is Prickinu, which is the smallest, spiciest Thai chili, and I love this name so much because this is the nickname that Master K gave me. So it's the first nickname I ever had, was like Prickinu, and that's her fight name, so we have this little bond. But Prickinu's dad, who I've seen a bunch of times at the gym, like, we smile at each other, but he's literally never said a single word to me. He just came up and, like, handed me some steamed in banana leaf snacks. I was like about to cry by him just coming up and giving me these snacks, partly because I had the lizard brain of, like, being exhausted right after training, and that kind of happens, but also because giving someone snacks is actually a really sweet, caring thing, and I love it, and so that made me very emotional. Thank you very much for those steamed snacks. But those are my thoughts after my training today, and kind of what that experience was, sparring with those 3 boys. And I'm sure by now I'll have to do it again, now that the precedent has been set. But that's only good for me, so that's excellent.